Thank you, Madam President, and through you to the proponent of the bill. Senator Winfield, can you describe any incidents that occurred since the original bill was put in place that would necessitate a change today?
Senator Winfield.
Through you.
Through you, Madam President, I guess yes. There are several instances that I know of and I will remind the good senator that the genesis of having this conversation was about the loopholes that I described in the court system. And there's several instances of the individuals who we were talking about in those positions communicating to the federal agents that we had intended for them not to be communicating with. And so this is not the first time that we have come here, not on the floor, the bill hasn't made it to the floor, but in the last several years have come to this building with an attempt to make what we see as corrections to the underlying Trust Act. Through you, Madam President.
Thank you, Senator Winfield. Senator Champagne.
Thank you. Thank you, Senator Winfield. Within the past 2 weeks, we dealt with an incident where youths were stealing cars. And in fact, it came up here, and we voted strongly for this amendment, change in the law. That basically, we're going to deal with a very small group of these youths stealing cars that are putting people in danger. A small group. And then I just heard from another senator that there is no undocumented person that is more dangerous than U.S. citizens. I'm going to talk about one group that is. And that group is called the MS-13. Let me describe them a little bit for you. The gang's motto is rape, control, kill. What are they known for? Drug trafficking, illegal immigration, robbery, larceny, human trafficking, extortion, murder. And it's not just a simple murder. They torture people to death. Prostitution, racketeering, kidnapping, arms trafficking, arson. I think I can go on with the list. I'd say they're more dangerous than most American citizens. You know, the changes that we're talking about today, that I'm talking about today, are the carve-outs, which is a very small group of the undocumented individuals that we're talking about. Just like we talked about the other day. I heard another senator talk about protecting the police. So let's talk about an incident. I stop an individual, let's go into Britain again, and he's wearing a tank top. I can clearly see he's MS-13. He threw a wrapper on the ground. I stop him. He's littering. I talk to him. I know who he is. I can't see if he's got a detainer under this new law. So I write him his infraction. I send him on his way. But in the process, I notice he's angry. I don't know why he's so angry. So I ask him. He doesn't want to talk to me. I send him on his way. Well, he's angry because somebody just ticked him off. In typical MS-13, he goes and does something about it. The next question that's going to come is, officer, how could you let him go and kill somebody? And my response would be, well, I didn't know. Because we passed a law protecting MS-13 gang members. Let's talk about detainers. Detainer is when the immigration knows somebody's here, they know where they live, and they're going to go get them. You know, immigration doesn't say, you know what, there's an illegal here, I'm going to go get them. In fact, when officers prior to this law being passed, when we contacted immigration because we pulled somebody over and they were illegal, they said, let them go. Rarely did they come and get them. You know, this isn't, a cowboy situation where every time you called somebody in, they would ride down and grab them immediately. In fact, we were dealing with problems in our downtown area where I was a policeman, and I had to call ICE every single day for a month. They finally came down to see what the problem was. And what it was is we had a group of immigrants living and working, but they were committing crimes every single day, and they started taking away from our police department because we had to deal with them. When we arrested them, they would simply disappear and wouldn't come back, and somebody would come and replace them. So when they finally came, we rounded up 37 illegal immigrants. We also rounded up the person who brought them here, who was taking advantage of them. They paid to come here by this gentleman, and he also took a weekly money from them. This isn't something we would have done, but we did it because they committed crimes over and over again. When somebody comes to America, if they're illegal and they're working and they don't commit crimes, we don't even know they're there. We don't go knocking on the door and say, "Are you illegal?" And even if we did, ICE wouldn't come get them. If they're working hard and they're not in trouble, well, they're here. The problem I have is when we start talking about the criminals. We start talking about people that are putting American citizens in danger. That small group, just like we talked about with the juveniles stealing cars. This this was unanimous, I think in big part because of this carve-out. You know, all of us took an oath to defend the Constitution of the United States and the laws here, and I took it 10 times. My 10th time being when I came here. There are attorneys in this room. You know, you took an oath to uphold the laws. Yet, when we look at federal laws, we say, maybe I'll uphold those. Now, we talk about warrants. No, first of all, if you pull somebody over and you call ICE, most of the time they say let them go. But if they say, yeah, we're going to get a detainer, that's not an easy thing. You're waiting hours just for a detainer. To get a warrant, you're going to wait a lot longer. So if I pull a car over with somebody who's already been deported, let's take anyone on the list. Let's start with a felony. Somebody gets arrested for a felony, does their jail time, gets deported. They illegally come back here again. If for some reason it pops up, I find out about it. I call ICE. Oh, wait, I can't under this law. But if I could call ICE, it would be quite a long time before they could get a warrant together. You know, they have to go find a federal judge, if they could even get one together. I'm going to say that. Most likely we'd end up releasing them. And now we have a convicted murderer back out in our society instead of sending them back home. So these changes today, in my mind, and what I read, they put us in danger. They put American citizens in danger. This doesn't mean every single immigrant we're going to go out and turn over a rock and find and send home. These are the carve-outs that we all agreed on many years ago. There's no changes since then when it comes to those who break the law. If somebody from MS-13 moved into your neighborhood, you would know it because they'd make it well known. And trust me, you do everything you can to move them along. I'm not going to read the list again because somebody's already read it, and I'm sure I'm going to go through all this material again as we hit every single one of these amendments throughout the night. So I'm going to leave it as we should really start thinking about those carve-outs and leaving them in this. That's my concern with this whole problem. And we should keep them there, and we should be able to do it with a retainer, not a warrant. Thank you, Madam Secretary.
Thank you, Senator. Will you remark?